Hey everybody, in this video we are going to learn how to make an M&M for our graham cracker houses. In Revit so far, we've always built walls, roofs, doors, windows, etc. And when we use all those individual components, they are called families that go into this project of a house. Now there's no M&M families, of course, so we have to make our own. So this will be our first attempt at making a family. So what we're going to do is go File, New, Family. And we're going to scroll down to generic model right there. Generic model. Go ahead and open that. And we got a brand new file start. Now our project is still there. That was that 3D tab when I was showing my house. And it opened up 4 tabs for us, but we'll be jumping around a little bit to show you what's going on there. Now in the meantime, we're making a plain M&M, not to be confused with peanut or minis. The process works the same though in case you need to make any of those other sizes or hopefully any other general candy shape. Now I took some measurements of a real M&M, and this is kind of a side view and front view because it doesn't matter, elevation view in architecture. Our M&M is 0.54 wide and it is about 0.26 thick. These are both in inches. Now the problem is we are modeling our house in Revit at full size. So we're going to shrink it down 1/4 inch scale to make the actual model. So our M&Ms need to be sized up, so to speak, or enlarged to make them look right on a full-size house model. So what we have to do for that is take these measurements and multiply them by 48. So it wouldn't matter if you're doing M&M, if you're doing like a lifesaver, you measure that thing, you multiply it by 48, and those are the sizes you would need to use to make it look right in your Revit house model. So that way when we scale everything back down to 1/4 inch, it'll be the actual size of the real candy. And why 48? Well, that's because when we're using 1/4 inch equals a foot scale, we're using just that first little 1/4 inch mark. And there are 48 of those 1/4 inch marks in here. So that is why we multiply by that number of 48, or that ratio. Moving on, we got our family that we're going to start making. The first thing we actually have to draw are a bunch of reference lines. We got to lay out a box in a top view and a box in a side view that's going to contain our M&M. And just got to jump back to my measurements. There we go. So we're in a floor plan view here, so we're looking down, and we can draw a box that contains that. So let's go ahead and draw a box that contains, with reference lines, our M&M shape. And I'm going to zoom way in here because our M&M is not very big. So I'm just drawing, and switch to the box draw tool and just rough out a box. And we're going to pull some measurements here. And what we found key is you want to go reference line to reference plane to reference line, go up and EQ that, and then dimension also one side of that. And then we'll do the same on the side here. EQ that one and reference plane to reference line. And there we go, modified. So measurements don't mean anything at the moment yet, other than the EQs are important. So as we modify these other numbers, it just self-centers. So on our M&M, this is the top view, so our M&M is a circle. So what we're going to actually do is just click on the one side here, and it is 26 total inches, so I need this to be 13 inches for half. And we're just going to repeat that on both. Oops, I got to click a line to move. And then click on my dimension. 13 inches, enter. Click off, and there we go. So we got a top view with a box that contains our M&M. Then we need to move to our front view. And I'm going to consider this work plane kind of like the ground, and then just a center line it gives us. So we're going to draw some more reference lines. So back to Create tab if it took you off. Reference line. Switch to box again right away. And I'm going to start on this work plane and go up and to the right, just so that way it's locked on that reference level. with these new reference lines. We're going to do some dimensioning like before. Oh, actually, you know what? We're going to draw one more reference line. Create another reference line that goes right down the middle. There we go. Now dimension. Bottom, middle, top, off to the side, EQ that, and then bottom to top, because this one I want to control the whole height. And we need to control, so we're looking from the front or side, this would be kind of our radius. So here, those three, EQ, and then just one side to the center. And there we go. Now let's start modifying these reference lines. So on the M&M it was 0.26 inches. We multiplied by 48. We have 12.5 inches tall. We need to make this M&M. 12.5 inches, enter. And the radius of the M&M again was 13 inches to make this all to scale. There we go. I can bring these measurements in just a little bit if I want. You don't have to. I'm just trying to keep it close and tight while I'm making the video so we can see everything. Alright, so we've done some layout work. If we go to a 3D view, we have nothing really yet. We can see we've got some weird work planes that are showing up. But really in the front view or side view is where we got to draw our M&M. And we're going to draw under Create. We are going to create a revolve. That means kind of spin something around an axis. Kind of see the preview there. So revolve, and these are boundary lines, so this is our shape, and we're going to pick ellipse. And right here is our center point. And just go out straight in one direction and then straight up to the other side. Because our green reference lines should already be defining our shape really. Then I also need to add a single line down the middle. There we go. Escape a couple times because I really only need half of an ellipse, and then we're going to revolve that around to make the whole candy. Once I have that made, I can go to corner trim, or just trim in general, sorry. And you click what you want to keep. So I want to click this half of the ellipse, and then the center line, and then the center line, and that same half again. And see how it trimmed off the entire other half of the ellipse. Perfect. Now we also have to tell the computer, those were all boundaries for our object. We also have to tell the computer what the axis is to revolve around. So I'm going to click that line, and then it's going to be on that same line here, but I'm just going to let it overhang a little bit because this is escape a few times. It's just a general line to know what to revolve around. And with all that in place, I hit Finish Shape, and boom, it looks like I just put my oval back. But really, if I go to 3D view, there we go. We have an M&M shaped object. Click off, and there we go. I can change my scale here, or scale's fine, I guess, but my view level, detail to fine, and shaded. There we go, M&M. Okay, so now we got one more thing to do because I can put this in the model right now and it would be great, but I want to be able to control the colors, right? The material. So I'm going to go up to this little button here that says Family Types. And these are really all the parameters can be set. And there's no material yet, so I go down to this little icon that says New Parameter. And I type Material. And for discipline, nope, it's data type, is changed to also material because that'll make it look at all the materials and finishes. Click OK. There it is. Click OK. And then this one important little step here. You got to click on the M&M one time. And if it's hard to click on, you can always like drag a box that touches it from this direction. That's an easy way to select it. If you go this way, it doesn't select, but if you drag to the left, it'll select it. And then right here where it says material by category, you have to hit the little box at the end to actually associate the material parameter to this material category. Click OK. And nothing actually changes here. It's just so that we actually have a material button once this is loaded into our project. And we are going to, the last thing I believe would be uncheck that it always is vertical, and we are going to check work plane based. That way it should snap to roofs or walls or grounds or floors. And let's load this. Actually, let's do a file, save as. Save as family. And you should just in your name, or if you have a gingerbread house, I've got a little candy folder that I've been trying to figure out here. So I'm going to name it M&M regular sized. Ignore all my other versions. That's just me experimenting and trying to learn myself. And save it. So that should have just been on your G drive folder. Once it's done saving, we're just going to now load this into your project. And just like that, you can now pick whatever surface you want to stick M&Ms on. And if I had a ground or a floor, it would let me put them on there too. So I'm not sure about topless solids yet, so that may or may not work. But there we go. That is how we create a family and get in here. Now, the big question is, at this final detail I should say, how do we make them different colors? Well, this is kind of like when we had doors and windows and we need to make different sizes. We're going to have to create a type, because M&M regular size is the family, and there's not any types yet. You can see eventually when I was goofing around, I created blue, green, red types. So that's what we would do. We would highlight one of them, edit the type, and we would duplicate. And I'm going to just call this M&M blue. Click OK. And my material now is right there. And if you probably won't have one by default, I created a new material, renamed it to color dash whatever you want. It's just an easy way to know where all my colors are together. So right there, color dash blue. I changed the color boxes both on the graphics for shading and appearance. And I click, make them both blue, click OK, click OK, click off. There's a blue one. So then if I want to make another color, right, I would highlight, we could highlight the same one too, but edit. This is just like we've done before. We duplicate, and the new name of this one is going to be M&M green. Hit OK, and I change this material to be green. Again, if you don't have a green, you would go new material and then set up your color boxes. Hit OK, click off, and there's our green one. And now you can see if I was going to do a component, let's close that for the moment. M&M regular size is my family. And then I have blue, green, and what really has to happen, I got to rename this one to be like red. That'll make it look a little better. Actually, let's do that quick. If I just click this one, that's one of the edit. We'll rename this after it's been placed. Red, hit OK. And then it should change all of those other ones to red right away. I don't know why the red's not showing up. My graphics card is glitching out a little bit on red, but I'm going to hope that it shines through. Sure it does. And those other ones all changed red because those are the ones I clicked right away when I placed them. And now if I look at component one more time, I think it'll look a little more normal. Because we have M&M regular size is the family, and then we have M&M blue, M&M green, and red. So there we go. Yeah, couldn't find those. Okay. Escape. So there, that is how we make our own M&M family. It is then how we place them. It is then how we duplicate and rename them to new things, to new title names that are descriptive so you can know which item you're placing and go from there. And this process should really work like anything from Lifesavers, Rolos, Skittles, right? All those things are very, very similar in nature. We're going to probably do revolves to make them. So good luck. Hopefully that helps, and I'll see you in the next video.